Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of I Love My HBCU ? Hosted by yours truly, Tosin Richard. I have one of my favorite humans on the planet here today. Anyone who's getting to see this on video, she just did the cutest face ever. She truly is an amazing soul who is a student at the National Treasure, and she is I always get your last name wrong. I want to say Trimuel, but I pronounce it wrong. So it's Tamera
Trimuel.
Trimuel. Tamera, have we asked your parents yet if the origin is French?
It is French.
It is French. Okay. Do we have a story? Do we have a story behind it?
Not really. I just know a couple years ago my dad was like, "Yeah, your last name is French," and I mean it's French. But I do know that my grandmother is from Louisiana, so I don't know all the history, but you know, I think some of the French was in that territory.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay. I was about to go there and my friends would be judging me because I was about to say, well, is it really Trimuel or Trimuel? But let me stop.
People say it both ways. I don't mind either one.
Okay.
But the only one that I just don't like is Tremel, because that's you could say Trimuel or Trimuel, that's fine. But Tremel,
but that's not your name. Tremel is not your name. It doesn't even spell like Tremel.
That's what I say, but you know, some people like to argue about my name. So
heavens help us. Heavens help us. Okay, you are a sophomore.
Junior.
Look at me trying to take time back. What is wrong with you, Tosin? I met you as a bright-eyed sophomore who did an amazing job with regards to helping us put one of our programs together. So I think that is why I put you in that sophomore space. But you are absolutely right. You are a junior strategic communications major at Morgan State University. And how was your last year? Because we are now a bit more removed from COVID. Thank you, Jesus, or thank heavens. What is it like being fully back on campus? Because remember, right after COVID, that is it's all I heard is consistently, I don't know what it's like to be on campus anymore. I wish this, I wish that. So what is it like being fully back?
It's definitely refreshing. I know my freshman year, we were able to be in person, but it was still like a lot of limits. So like you couldn't go to certain places or certain events on campus because of the capacity. So my sophomore year, being able to really be immersed in like what a real HBCU experience is, being able to give your friend a hug or go outside or be in the ballroom with, you know, and it still was floating around, but not at the rate it was my freshman year or even before that. So it really was just a breath of fresh air to really be able to, you know, have that experience. I know like some of the seniors in class of 2023, they didn't get to have like their full 4 years on campus. So I'm definitely grateful that I got to have majority of my, you know, college experience on campus and in person. So I'm very grateful, and I don't take it for granted, because who would have thought that COVID would take, you know, your collegiate experience away? So I'm happy that I was a little younger than them. So
I don't want to take us back to that time, but I might be a little dramatic and a little extra on some days. But it felt a little apocalyptic. Like, what in the world is going on?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful that time has passed. I really, really am. Speaking of time passing, what is Tamera looking forward to? When I say looking forward to, your junior year, the year before, we're going to start asking you what's next after graduation. What is the one thing that you want to look back at your junior year and be grateful that you did at A, B, or C?
I know the two biggest things that I really, 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 really want to focus on this year is my impact and my influence, number one. I feel like I want to reach more of the baby bears, even the people in my class, I want to be somebody that they think of and they're like, wow, she inspired me to do this, or wow, I look at her and I know I can do X, Y, and Z, or she helped me get to my next goal. So I definitely want to maximize my impact and my influence on campus these last 2 years. And then I really want to dive more into my passion for just media and creative direction and production and all that type of stuff. I think I've always done it on the side or like when I'm bored, but I really want to take advantage of the people I have here and the resources my junior year. I think that I just really want to immerse myself more into it. I think I've just been, waddling and okay, but now I think it's time for me to be like, okay. Because people are coming to me actually asking me, like, hey, Tamara, can you shoot my content? Or I would love for you to, think of something for this. So I'm like, okay, maybe it is time for me to take it more serious while I'm in college. So those are my two biggest ones.
I'm gonna push you a little bit in that space, and I don't think she's going to mind me using her as an example. I won't mention her name, but I'm sure she won't mind me using her as an example. She is also one of your prophytes, if I'm not mistaken. But there is a lovely Morgan alumna who business major, and I remember very, very vividly in her last year to last semester, I noticed her just be so creative. She's always been ridiculously creative. And she said that she wishes she did what you're now claiming you're going to do and reflect and look back on. So take that, and anybody else listening to this, right? Take this as the opportunity to not wait too long to dive into your passions, because here's the reality, right? How will you know if this is truly where you're supposed to be spending your time and your space if we don't play around in it right now? So please play around in it. Do I have permission to tap you on the shoulder
You do.
whenever I see you on campus and remind you, remember you said that
Hold me.
this is what you, there we go. So pushing further into that accountability, Miss Trimuel, you are one of these human beings who belongs to 25.5999 organizations. So accountability moment here, right? And I hear students say all the time, hey, I just wish I had better time management and da 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 da. I want you to speak on how unrealistic, and I'm looking dead at you as I say this, how unrealistic it might be for you to still be part of 25.99999 organizations and still dive fully head on, especially into creative passions that are also going to require time.
Yeah.
How are you, give us some insight into what you're going to hold yourself accountable to make sure that the priority is still, I need to dive into my passions.
Well, for me, I kind of had to learn the hard way. I'm one of those people where I want to put my foot in everything. Like I want to
We
experience
know.
everything that I can. And it's just not realistic at all. Like even if you don't have a passion that you want to dive into right now, it's just unrealistic. Like I was doing so many things at once that I start missing out or missing from, things that I committed to because I just didn't have the time, or I was just like, I didn't even have the time to communicate that I didn't have the time. And it was just, I will never do that again. I remember finals week last semester, my sophomore year, I remember calling my mom like, Mom, I am burnt out. Like I have nothing left to give. And it was because I was trying to give so much to everything. And I really like this year I am prioritizing like these are the three things, these are the top three things on my list. This is what I'm committing myself to. And I'm gonna stick to it. If I can't do it, I can't do it. I can't have my hand in every pot because you're not going to be able to pour yourself into every single pot. And I know for me, using Google. I have, okay, so y'all see the calendar. I have my
Yes.
Google Calendar on my phone and I have an actual planner. So I'm writing down everything. So I don't have time to think, oh, do I need to do this? I need to be here. I don't have time to forget. Everything is right there for the day. But it's so unrealistic. It's not, I just don't do it. I will never be doing that again. And I know for me committing to being more creative and expounding on that, I'm trying to be creative in every space that I'm in. So like SGA, for example, is something that I love to do, and I'm gonna be creative in it. So I'm still getting the work done, but I'm using my creativity to, it makes me enjoy it even more. Even on those days where I don't feel like doing something, hey, I can make a reel out of this moment. Hey, I could do a cool video. So just making sure I'm bringing my creativity into everything that I'm doing, so I can still honor that commitment and get the work done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last piece of advice that I'm going to give you, if you don't mind, is it's not too early to start practicing the art of saying no respectfully.
Yes.
Because I happen to know you and you want to take on everything. Practice saying no respectfully, okay? Okay, so traditionally, we take you through a rapid 67. 67 seconds are going to go on the clock. I'm going to ask you as many questions as possible. And your clock starts after I read the first question. You ready?
Yes.
Oh, I love this one. I love this one. I ask this one all the time, intentionally. You're at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Ooh. Issa Rae.
Ooh, that would be so sweet. I hope Issa Rae gets to hear this. It is Morgan State University. Tamera graduates when?
May 2025.
May 2025. Issa Rae, I hope she hears you. I really do. Tosin, I'm eating up your clock. Who's your celebrity crush?
Um, I would say Keith Powers.
I don't
Um,
know who that is.
he's an actor, but if like you want to know somebody that is like my cousin in my head, who like we're like this, Kiki Palmer.
Kiki, okay, Kiki Palmer, I hear you. And I know I'm telling my age when I say I don't know who somebody is, but that's okay. Would you rather see the future or change the past?
See the future.
See the future, because we learn lessons from our past, don't we? I love it. I love it. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Ooh, vibrant, uh, vibrant, unapologetic, and unorthodox.
I love it. Last one in the 67, even though I've just been told that my time's up. Would you want to be student regent or SGA president? Ooh, her eyes.
SGA.
SGA president. Okay. Oh, that was a good set. That was a really, really good set. That was a good set. Oh, I love that one. You are vibrant. That is a perfect way to describe you. I know this. The audience is going to find out soon. You are from Chicago, and you found yourself at Morgan State University. So tell us the story. How does Tamera Trimuel, who is a born and bred Chicago, end up at an HBCU like Morgan State University? How? Give us the journey. Give us your college selection journey. Let's hear it.
So Morgan was actually my first choice.
I love it.
Morgan was actually my first choice. However, I didn't commit to Morgan first. It was
Okay.
COVID, so tours were not available here. I went to a school in North Carolina called Elon University, and I fell in love with the campus. Like, I fell in love with the program. My god sister actually went to that school. She's a year older than me. And so I'm like, okay, maybe this is it. And I love North Carolina. Like, I love the vibe. It's like calm. I love the South. I love, the people out there. So I was like, maybe this is it. I committed, I paid my fee, everything. And then something just was like, I wasn't satisfied. You know how your spirit is just like, no, Tamera. And I just wasn't happy with my decision. Like, my spirit wasn't settled. And I'm a very like spiritual person. So if my spirit is telling me like, Tamera, or if I'm not at peace with it, I need to adjust.
Okay.
I had a childhood friend, Sierra Evans. She actually works for Morgan now. She went to Morgan, and she would tell me all about it. She set up virtual tours for me. She was able to connect me with some people, and that's how I really was like, okay, let me revisit Morgan again. Let me see what's going on. And I did, and I committed to it. I got my refund back from Elon, and I committed to Morgan like 2 or 3 days before decision day, and it was like a calmness fell over me, and I was so excited. And it's the best decision I've ever made. I cannot imagine me being at Elon. Like, the opportunities that I have gotten at Morgan, the people that I've met, I would have never gotten at Elon. So that's my story in a nutshell. Nothing too crazy, but
No, not crazy, but I want to extract something that I heard near the end. Is it Sierra Evans?
Yes.
Sierra Evans. What was it about Sierra Evans and her mentioning of Morgan State University that made you say, and I know you said she set up the tours for you and that stuff. I definitely heard that. But what was it? Because you're also saying that she was an alum or she is an alum of Morgan State University.
So I think I was able to see her thrive at Morgan. So like
Hmm.
it's a people say a lot of things. Oh, I did this. I did this. Morgan is a great school, but I was able to actually before COVID. So she was here for 2 years, I think, before COVID, and I would see like what she's doing on campus. She would post on her social media. I would see her everything that she was telling me. I would see it. So I'm a person where you could okay, that's nice, but what can I see? And I just saw everything that she was doing and the energy and the love that she would tell me it matched. Like everything just made sense. And I'm like, okay, she got me excited to go to Morgan and I didn't even like commit yet. I'm like, this is the school for me.
So number one, shout out to Sierra Evans. Number two, I do want to focus or highlight the fact that it is important for alumni to talk about their HBCUs, to showcase their HBCUs in their day to day life.
Mm,
And okay, I'm plugging I love my HBCU question mark here, right?
yes.
One of the reasons why I felt we needed to do this, and once I've spoken to people, they're like, no, definitely we hear so many people and we forget where they got their foundation. And there's so many amazing human beings like Sierra Evans, and there's countless names to mention, and you're about to be one of them when you graduate, who
Yes.
their foundation honestly started at an HBCU. But because we don't hear them mention their HBCU as much, we totally forget that this place had so much to do with who they are. And for me anyway, I used to scoff at the tagline HBCU made. Like I'm like HBCUs didn't make me, and I'm like no, there is some truth to that. That when you look at what was the foundation to every single thing else you might be doing professionally, where did everything start? It really was HBCU made. So again, shout out to Sierra Evans and all of the HBCU alumni out there. And a challenge to those who don't talk about their HBCUs as much. You never know which Tamera Trimuels are out there just looking at your social media and listening to what you're saying about those HBCU experiences. So thank you so much, Sierra Evans and all of the HBCU alum. Um, Tamara, I happen to know that you had an amazing internship that you where look at her eyes. Her eyes are lighting up. That you happen to had an amazing internship that you were a part of over the summer. And I want the world to hear about it.
So I don't even know how I found it. Honestly, I was in class one day and I saw it and I'm like, okay. You know, with those corporations, I really didn't think I would get it because they're so big. Like the app, as much as like I'm qualified, there are 20 other Tamaras that are just as qualified, if not more. So I was just applying in class and I didn't really think anything of it until I got an email saying, you know, hey, we'd love to interview you. And then I got another email saying, hey, we want to do a second interview. And then I got it. It was in Dallas, Texas, with Southwest Airlines. I was a public relations intern in their culture and communications department for the entire summer. It was definitely an experience. I will say that I enjoyed what I learned as far as what I want and what I don't want.
Mm,
Would I
mm,
do it again? Probably not.
hmm.
Probably not. Yeah.
You don't end an answer or sharing that way and not expect me to ask. As long as you're not going to, I'm not
Yes.
trying to get you to give specifics or anything
Yeah.
like that. But why the probably not?
I think for me, I love to be challenged. And I love to be pushed. And I didn't feel that there necessarily. And corporate is a whole nother shell. So I literally was at my cubicle from 9 to 5. And
Mm.
I am a type of person where I need to be out moving around. I want to talk. I want to feel the energy. I want to be creative. Like I want to move around. And so I knew that, okay, we know corporate is not for you. We know the cubicles aren't for you. However, it did teach me so much. Not even just like in Southwest. I relocated to an entire, like a whole different state
Mm-hmm.
by myself, and it just really taught me a lot about who I am. I was able to really enjoy my solitude, and really get to know Tamera and rethink about my goals and my career. Um, so it was definitely a great experience. I needed it. I wanted it. I'm happy I did it. I would have never known that I don't like corporate if I didn't do this. Like I probably, if I didn't do this internship, I would find out that I don't like corporate when I graduate, and by that time, it's you have bills to pay and you have responsibility. So I probably couldn't say I don't want to do this. So I'm happy I did it in the summer. So I don't, I know myself enough to be like, okay, so we know we have to find something other than the corporate.
I'm going to talk about Tamara's book that she came out with when she was in high school as a teenager. Dear Black Girl, You Were It. But as I listened, she just showed the cover. For those who are only listening, she just showed the beautiful cover of her book. Um, but as I listened to what you just said, right, there are a number of things that you bring out that I hope enough students, especially, and even grown adults,
Mm-hmm.
should listen to. And one of those things, and the reason why I quickly tied in your book is because I know the impact, at least you've shared with us the impact you want to have, right?
Yes.
You said something that needs to be underlined. You said you don't want to wait until you graduate and you got bills to pay. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when you find out, oh my gosh, I don't really like corporate. And I think that when I hear a lot of students talk about their internship experiences and they focus so much on the things that they don't like, they forget that all of that was necessary in finding out what it is you don't like so that you don't keep going after the wrong thing for the wrong reason. Because if Tamara Trimuel now has graduated and finds herself in corporate public relations and did not know, no, corporate isn't for me, those bills,
Mm-hmm.
because they are sometimes, most times, the motivation to the jobs that most people end up taking,
Yes.
kind of put you in this space where you find yourself doing what you don't like, you're unhappy at it, but you have to take it because it's the job that you got. So I really do hope that enough students are listening to the commentary that you just made about, I loved it. This is what I learned from it. I now know what I don't want to do. It's not always just about focusing on what it is you do want to do. So I appreciate you for that. And since I brought up the title, Dear Black Girl, You Are It. What is this book about? And what inspired you at in high school to say, I want to do this? Go for it.
So I had started my own business at 9 years old called Tamera's Treasures, and it was all about just inspiring Black girls who look like me, to love themselves, to
Mm,
unapologetically walk in their truth, to honor their virtue. And so I had my own business. I made custom treasure boxes, custom bracelets, and T-shirts. And I would go to like different. My aunt actually gave me my first debut for my business. She has a foundation called the Princess Within, and so she has this annual gala or like ball for girls. And she allowed me to have my first, little event there. And from there, I went to other, events similar to that. And it kind of slowed down once I, got older and busier with school. But I went to Disney Dreamers Academy in 2018. And it was just like being around so many people your age who are doing it, like people younger than me at that time doing it. I went home like, Mom, what am I doing? Like, I have to, like, I can't be quiet anymore. Like, I have to do something. And so we came up with the idea. Well, I came up with the idea to write a book. And of course, my parents helped me. And Dear Black Girl, You Are It was birthed. It's like my love letter to all the Black girls around the world. I break down the word self. So it's 4 chapters: see you, express you, love you, and free you. See you was all about looking in the mirror and seeing who you are, seeing the inside of you. Expressing yourself is all about really using your gifts and talents to change the world, um, and doing it unapologetically. Loving you, that's self-explanatory. Loving who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you don't love yourself, you can never, you can't, other people won't know how to love you if you don't love yourself. When you love yourself, it's just certain things that you won't allow. And so I'm really inspiring girls to just take time loving on you, and stop expecting other people to love you when you don't even love yourself, because they don't know how. And free you is all about freeing yourself, from any negative thoughts, from any toxic relationships, from anything that isn't serving your purpose and making you grow as a Black girl. So that is Dear Black Girl You Right in a nutshell.
Do you see this look on my face? Okay. So, see you, express you, love you, free you. Tamara, have you taken us through a workshop of
So I
this?
did, when it first came out, I did have several
And by
workshops.
us, I really do mean at Morgan State
Oh,
University. Let me be very clear.
not at Morgan. um, I did some virtually and in person before I came to college. And then when I got to college, I got to college. I got busy with school. And it I don't have an excuse, because you're not the first person who has said this. You're not the first person that's like, Tamara, what are you doing? It's me, honestly. I have to find the time. I have to make the time. Um, but yes, I have done it in the past. They're very successful. They're very fun. I would love to do one with older girls. I think the majority of mine that I did when I was like a couple years ago with younger girls, I think that I'd be able to have more of a transparent conversation with the girls who are in college. So it is something that I do want to cross off my to do list in college. Um, so yeah.
And yes, earlier on, I'm the same person that cautioned you not to spread yourself too thin, and I stand by that, not to spread yourself too thin. But I see not a crossroads, a joined venture that you
Mhm.
could be doing with one of these organizations that you're already a part of. I also heard you say earlier on about the impact you want to have.
Yes.
And the reality is that there's clearly an avenue and an opportunity here for you to cross off a number of things
Mhm.
whereby you're not necessarily adding more to your plate, but you're focusing in on something. Okay.
Mhm.
That okay. So yeah, so we're on the same campus. So I'm gonna bring this up again. Like, excuse me. We talked about this. How about we you are a student I think a lot of people love to talk to because you are a critical thinker.
Mhm.
Anyone who gets to have a conversation with Tamara finds out very quickly that she doesn't just parrot your own opinions because she doesn't just parrot other people's opinions, sorry, just because she's heard it. She's listening, she's thinking,
Oh
and
yeah.
then she's gonna
No.
have her own opinion. And I love it when I hear your
Mhm.
opinion. So I want to ask your opinion about a couple of
Okay,
things.
okay. Let's see what we're going to talk about here.
Yes. And you and I have talked about it offline, and I know you don't mind me, having it be a little bit focused here. Do you think there is value in increasing the non-black student population at your school? At your HBCU? I need to keep reminding everybody this is an HBCU conversation we're having.
At my HBCU,
Yes.
I see the value in the numbers and, like, all that. But as far as the actual experience, no. I think that the people who built this institution curated a space for generations to come that looked like them, who they knew wouldn't have access to what they should have access to. They wouldn't have access to education. So they curated a space, even if they didn't even benefit from what they curated, we are. And I think that space is for us. There are countless of other institutions that would love to have non-black students. We only have 102, 104 to choose from. One of those numbers. We only have 100. And I think that it would be great. It would, if they're open to having a new experience, it would be great for them to learn and see what a HBCU is, and get to know Black people and kind of dismantle the maybe the biases or the stereotypes that they have in their mind, right? So that would be a benefit to them. But for us, I don't really see it, because we have to interact with people who aren't of color for the rest of our life. Honestly, we only get to have undergraduate and graduate school, and if you choose to work in HBCU after you graduate as well, we only have those periods of time to really just be around people who look like us. So I wouldn't say like don't come at all. But I definitely do think that the value that HBCU holds lies in Black people. So
I hear you. Let me, yeah, yeah. So that pause, for those who are only listening to us, opposed to also viewing us, that pause came with a lot of facial expressions. I do hear you, but question.
mhm,
Do you think that that's a slight double standard? And when I say that's a slight, and I'm listen,
mhm,
I am not opposing or agreeing with your viewpoint. I hear the viewpoint, I understand the viewpoint, and I value elements of that viewpoint, right? But I wonder, right?
mhm,
For somebody who does not really know what HBCUs are and
mhm,
has not been honored to be a part of one at any level, and they might hear something like this and they're thinking, well, hold on, nobody has asked black, granted, back in the day, the reason why HBCUs existed, in all fairness, is because black students were not necessarily welcome at most other institutions, which one could argue is or is not quite the same case now, because we do have melanated students attending other than HBCU institutions. But the option is now there.
mhm.
So, since the option is now there, do you believe that your viewpoint raises a double standard? That if you're saying that there isn't as much value for a non melanated person to attend an HBCU, then in reverse, should there be value then in a melanated person attending a non HBCU?
So I think for me, it all goes back to like the origin of it. So the origin is that we weren't allowed in those spaces.
Mm.
So because we weren't allowed a seat at the table, we made our own. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for a non-black person attending an HBCU, there is some value that they can get, but I think that being black and knowing that somebody black made a space for you and knowing what they went through, your connection and the benefit and the value you get from your HBCU is completely different. If I would have went to Elon, absolutely, I probably would have, found black spaces for myself. I probably would have took advantage of all the opportunities, but it wouldn't compare to me coming to Morgan State and having a connection with the school, with the people, because I know people who didn't have access to what I always say, I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. Like, and that's what I think about every time I'm at Morgan. Like I'm their wildest dream. And I think that it's black people who attend PWIs, and not every black person. And this is the thing too. Some people do want to who attend PWIs. They do want to come to HBCUs, but funding, right? They don't get as much money and things like that. So I do think you could still have a black experience at a PWI, but the connection that you
It's
have
not
to
the
that
same.
institution, it's not the same. Like you, I know for a fact after I graduate from Morgan, I'm coming back. And I'm not just coming back to give money. I'm coming back to see what I can do to help grow my institution. I don't know if I can say that about some of my friends who go to PWIs. It's very much like, okay, they're paying for me to be here. They gave me great money. I'm ready to get these 4 years over with and leave. But I think that with HBC, I mean, you're in the airport and you see 70-year-olds wearing their HBCU, like it's just non-black people would not, it just wouldn't be as valuable to them. The HBCU experience wouldn't be as valuable to them. It just, they don't have the connection.
Can we talk about the HBCU paraphernalia for a hot second? Does this happen to you? And I kind of want to know. I hope somebody like finds a way to message us and gives their viewpoint for those who did not go to HBCUs. So when I travel, right, and I'm
Mhm,
in the airport, literally what you just said happens
mhm.
to me. If I happen to have Morgan on, or if I happen to have Howard on, or any somebody has got somebody black who
Yeah,
went to an HBCU, regardless of the HBCU they went to. It's as if we just made a connection
like you're
and
my
they're
close
going to
friend.
no. I've literally had somebody, oh, we're cousins, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cute.
Yeah,
And I it makes me wonder. So black people, we're kind of just really dope
just because.
just because we're dope. uh,
Exactly.
So we might really do things like that, even if we didn't have that HBCU paraphernalia connection to make. But I am curious though, if maybe you had on Elon or something else, would do you think that connection would still happen? I don't know. I really don't know. So that's why I'm saying I want to put it out there. I wonder if they have those same experiences, regardless of race, i.e., regardless of the race of the person wearing it. Do they have those same experiences? Because I promise you, if it was a white person in Morgan paraphernalia, they're still going to get the, oh, so you went to Morgan. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm really, really curious about that. So I hope we get an answer. I really
I
do.
hope so. Hopefully they
Makes
drop
me
it in the
makes
comments.
me makes me drop it in the comments. Makes me wish this was live for 2.2 seconds. But drop it in the comments. Tamara, you will be an alumni soon, one day soon. And I look forward to celebrating all of that for you. But in the meantime, what would you want alumni of your HBCU to know about your current experience?
Hmm. I would say that we need more of you here.
Wow, I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that you guys always like they alumni always come back like for special occasions or like we have some alumni that work here. But I think that in order for HBCUs and my HBCU Morgan to remain what it is and for the culture to be as strong, we need you. Like, it's nothing like hearing stories about how you guys used to do events in the old student center or how you guys made it through this. I just I want more of you here. Like I'm a type of person, I love archives. I love like old videos and old pictures. So when I see like those old pictures and old videos of what you guys have done, the stuff that you guys have organized, every time I go in the student center and I see, the pictures of you guys sitting in Northwood, it's like, wow, I wish that, we had more of you and your experiences here on campus. I mean, I know we do, but I guess what I'm asking for is like more of a daily interaction or like more of
Mm,
a consistent interaction. Um, like we hear secondhand stories from people who but it's nothing like hearing it directly from that person's mouth. Like I went through this, I did this, or I met this old man. He's not old. He's
you
old.
met
Sorry.
you
I mean, he was like
can,
75, maybe. But I
can we
met
say
him.
you met an elder? Can we say
I
you
met
met
an
an
elder.
elder? Thank
Okay,
you.
I met an elder.
I love Tamara.
Um, and I met him my sophomore year, fall of my sophomore year, and he came to one of our sophomore SGA events, and we didn't even know who he was. And I introduced myself. I'm like, "Thank you for coming out." He was like, "Yeah, I was SGA president when I went to Morgan," and instantly, I'm like, "Well, how was it? What did you do? Like, what was memorable about that experience?" And I learned so much from that small interaction just because he
Mm,
showed up to a random event that the sophomore class was holding. And so
wow.
and I still never forget that moment. So little things like that, it inspires you because it's like, wow, he still comes back to these events.
Absolutely.
So definitely just we need you guys here.
So I'm going to ask everybody to blame you for this from here on out, not me, because listening to you say that, as you know, this show, I spotlight both HBCU alum as well as current HBCU students. And I will start inquiring on air Of our alumni, and by our, I mean all HBCU, this isn't Morgan specific, of course, but all HBCU alumni, just what are they doing with regards to engaging? Because everybody likes to say giving back. What are they doing with regards to engaging with their alma mater? And it's born out of not just what you've said, but I've heard a lot of students say, I may have a better appreciation of what I have if I knew what they went through, if I knew that they did not have A, B, C, D, and F, I may have a better appreciation. And of course, somebody listening might say, well, shouldn't you just appreciate it anyway? But is that real? That's not real. Sometimes we need to know what wasn't in order for us to appreciate what is. So I will start asking that question a lot more often. What are you doing as an alum to engage more? Because not only is it needed, it is wanted by some, and most importantly, there's value in it. So that thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. That is amazing. Tamera, finish this sentence for me.
Okay.
In 10 years, I will.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, in 10 years, I will. Ooh, but I'll be 30 in 10 years. Okay, so hopefully, no.
Guys, those who are just listening to us and not watching us, this young, lovely lady just made this eye of I'll be 30 in 10 years. Lord have mercy. Go ahead.
30 is
In
still young.
in 10, listen, I'm beyond 30 and I look amazing, okay? In 10 years, I will.
I will accomplish everything that I wrote down 10 years prior to that.
Have
I
you
do it a
written
lot.
down the list?
I do. Like I have a goal. So every year I do like my goals for the year and what I want 5, 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to have everything that I've written down. And I think for me, one of my biggest goals is in the now and 10 years from now is everything doesn't have to happen when you want it. And to trust the process. I'm a very like, I'm working for it. I need it now. I need results now. And I'm learning that you may not see the result now, but 10 years, like everything you're doing now, 10 years from now, you're going to see those results. So in 10 years, I will accomplish everything that I wrote down 10 years prior to that.
I'll take it. I love it. Tamera, I want you to end this episode for us by leaving our audience with a parting word or phrase or short phrase on why you love, it could be your HBCU or HBCUs in general.
I love my HBCU because it was made for me.
Short, sweet, and absolutely perfect. Tamera, I'm lucky that I get to call you a student at Morgan State University, my academic home institution. So I'm lucky that I get to have several conversations with you beyond this episode. But I really do thank you for giving of your time. I thank you for imparting a lot of words of wisdom. And I hope that the audience has loved listening to our conversation as much as I have loved having the conversation.
Yes.
And lastly, I do hope that it has earned us the pleasure of anyone subscribing or everyone subscribing and liking this episode. So on that note, yours and HBCU love. See you next episode.
Bye.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.